Welcome to Dose with Grace. Hope you're doing well and taking very good care of yourself. This is the time of the year where one after the other we have wonderful string of festivals and amazing festive fever, the divinity in the air. Well, I started making my videos in a very pious and powerful month of Purushottam Mas, which was also called as Adhik Mas, and that was followed by Shravan Mas. And I think it was a blessing to begin these videos at that time. And in between, I had to take a short gap because it was my children's holidays and also Navratri fever. And since children were at home, our celebration of Navratri was even more wonderful. We chanted Durga mantras, Ma Durga's mantra every day, and the mornings began with such pious chanting. Then, of course, the whole day went, and of course, because some people, some communities, they have different way of celebrating. They make golus, such wonderful dolls put in the decorations, and I was so lucky and blessed to visit one of my friends' golu celebration, and of course visiting temple with another friend of mine in this Navratri, as she was visiting Singapore, and in fact doing darshans of two temples in a single day, where amazing level of preparation for Durga Puja was going on. And finally, on the day of Navami, visiting temple with my husband, sitting there in peace, enjoying the festive, energy, and almost feeling so blessed. So, of course, with all of this, it was almost like I was in that zone, so couldn't make any video, couldn't share anything. There was so much to share, but I'm sure like all of you must be having your own celebrations and going through your own wonderful experiences during these festive and prayer months. I too had amazing time with my family, with my friends, and therefore there was a small gap, followed by yesterday's Karwa Chauth. As you can see, it's a wonderful festival which is a greatly celebrated in the north of India, and I think thanks to Karan Johar, it is now celebrated all over India by different communities as well. However, it depicts and is a great celebration of love and togetherness and the building of bond between husband and wife. And as we grow from 2 to 3, 3 to 4 of the family, and just remembering how wonderful and how wholesome this relation is, which is not just as a intimate relation between husband and wife, but also a great friendship, a great counselor to each other, great guides, and each other's best critics and each other's back support. So with all of that, I think that explains why this video has been delayed, but at the same time I have something really wonderful to share this time. So let's begin this video with the two powerful and divine mantras for all of us. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you for joining back. And as I told you, I have something really amazing to share with you, and that was shared to me by my children Like I said, they were having holidays. So when holidays, what do? You spend more time with children. Though they have their own schedules, my children are quite grown up, but that makes them even better friends. And we do share a lot. We do exchange a lot of our learnings, our notes, their understanding, our perceptions, and our experiences of life. So I have dig out three important lessons from what I learned from my children, and they were just revised during these interactions of these holidays that they had. But actually, some of them have actually been brought up before, but we crystallized them more during these holidays as we had more time and we had 9 days of Navratri to simmer upon all this wisdom that we gain through our life. So, first, long back, I think just when COVID had almost started getting better and we could travel, we had planned a vacation to Phuket as a family just to feel different. I was actually quite worried in that vacation, and contrary to me, my husband, who is quite a strong personality, he's the one who planned it during my birthday, and it was a I was a little worried, as I said, because I was wondering what if we catch COVID there and stuff like that. Because still in flights we were supposed to wear masks and we had to give those, we had to still show at that time the the vaccinations certificates and the proof of vaccination. So when we went there, it was a much rather, to my surprise, it was way much more enjoyable, because one, that it was on a beach side. The place where we were staying, the resort, was so amazing. The kids could play in the water. It was actually in the morning I used to walk up to the beach area, which was bit quaint, very quiet, quite still. I don't know, at that time I was also on Facebook, so I had made videos also for Those with Grace, my page, because it was absolutely serene in the morning. I could actually hear my own breathing. If I was breathing louder, I could hear the waves of the ocean. I could hear the wind rustling between the trees. I could see so many type of birds. And I literally had to then come back and check with my son, who's a little more aware and knowledgeable about these species, because he's so much into wildlife. And then there was a path that was so beautiful that it was surrounded by trees, and it had these flowers, very fragrant flowers. And in the morning, especially because of the breeze, the whole path would be like very clean. But as the wind starts rustling between the trees, the small little petals would fall down, and the whole area would be covered with fragrant flowers, as if it's like a walking stage. And me and my son used to go for early morning walk over there, and so it was absolutely stunningly nature connect. There was a pond which was full of lotus flowers, and we could actually see the lotus coming out in the morning and then going back into the water towards the evening. So that unfolding, and and the whole beauty of lotus, the symbolization of lotus in our Sanatan Dharma is that it represents Lakshmi, the Lakshmi seat, which means that you are of the world but not, you're in the world but not connected like that. You're not get the mud of the world on you. So lotus is a great symbol even in Buddhism of spirituality. So it was wonderful. But there used to be one thing there, that in the evening we used to go for dinner in a place, and that was not in the hotel. We wanted to have something little different, so there was a place which was slightly away, and the transportation to that place could be, you could take a cab, or there was a local transportation which was more like a tuk-tuk, which is like an auto kind of a thing, but slightly bigger. So about 6 to 8 people can sit in that, and very like airy because it's not fully covered, and driven by a motorcycle in the front. So basically like an auto, but it's called, I think, tuk tuk over there. So we used to take that, and there was a passage that there was an area about 15-20 minutes drive it was to that place, which was probably a town center or something. Um, there would be area where there will be only like there's no people living, because this, I said, is just after COVID got better and people started traveling. So lot of we saw the devastation in the form of many shops had closed down, and it looked very sad. But this part particularly was very nice because it was only vegetation, only trees, only maybe some small little farms. But during the night when we used to go there, it's my daughter who pointed it out that, I here you really feel what is night. The darkness of the night is really felt here. You can really not see anything when we used to go by the tuk tuk, and especially when we used to come back after dinner. um, we it was just four of us and the person who's driving, and he had become almost like a friend to us because we were taking every day his tuk tuk. So it was so wonderful that our daughter observed this, and told us, and we started observing through her eyes the same thing, and it felt so peaceful. It felt so wonderful. I mean, wonderful is the right word, because uh, we wondered how cities like great countries like uh, Singapore, or the countries which are now first world countries, have lost this beauty. It was the main street, and though the street was well lit, but around it there was complete darkness, and you could hear certain animals, you could hear certain things, but it's quaint, very, 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 very shant. The shanti, the peace of the night was there. And when my daughter said, in such countries, in such places, in such certain cities, are deprived of this beauty of and quaintness and the softness and the gentleness and the peace of night. It just was such a beautiful revelation. What happens there at the night? Everything is resting, yes. Everything is quiet. But when we observed it day after day after day, what we observed, that though there is this great sense of peace and serenity in the night, but there's also a certain kind of special kind of, a very different kind of activities that is going on. There are certain nocturnal birds, there are certain nocturnal animals, there are certain nocturnal insects, that this is the time for them to come into life. So darkness has its own beautiful life. There's a lot that happens in the darkness. In the quietness of the night, there's a lot that is taking shape. There's a lot that is healing in the form of rest that is happening with plants and certain animals. But at the same time, there is a lot of creativity, a lot of creation also that is happening, a lot of movement, a lot of flow that is happening, which makes the next day, the light, workable because of this night. And when my daughter said that many countries, many places are deprived of this beauty, are deprived of this wisdom, or even this experience, let's say, just to speak very theoretically and very scientifically, of this experience. Because she said they haven't experienced night like this before in Singapore. They've lived here for so many years, but they didn't know the beauty and the peace and the darkness of night is so, raw and so natural. Here everything is so lit. What does it teach us? Let's say darkness is a metaphor for those times in our life which are dark, which are not necessarily according to our taste, according to our choice, or not when we are going higher and higher and rising and getting more money and getting more beautiful, or getting our everything is happening according to what is according to the society norms, positive. Everyone has that phase in life. Everyone has to go through it. That is what is life. It balances out everything for everyone. If today you're on the high, tomorrow you will be seeing the lows. And if you're at the low today, you will be definitely seeing the highs. But if we do not have the experience, the true understanding, the wholesomeness of this experience of something called as darkness, that is why today we see that as soon as a little trouble comes in life, a little scarcity comes in life, a little things don't go by our plan, we are so low. Whereas if you look at people in villages, if you look at people in such countries where we had this experience, they have perfectly survived. They're rather thriving in any stage in life. Because they do see through nature around them, giving them a lesson that night is also part of the whole day. Only the sunshine is not a day, that is just half of your day. The half of your day is darkness. And that darkness of the night, that sunshine of the day, together completes the cycle and makes it a day. So all our failures, if I may say so, all our low times, all our trying times, when things are not our way, when we are probably not in the best of health, when someone in the family is going through some problem, or if we are not at a position that we want socially to be at, comparison, competition, all of these are the darkness of our life. But if we can see through it, we will see, even though this is giving us a lot of, for example, a failure is considered to be dark phase of life. But in that failure, when we are quiet and down, that is when we can listen to our own heart. We are not listening to too much appreciation around us. When we are on a high, everyone is appreciating us. Then we are hardly listening to our own voice. We are listening too much to the praises and the fancy words around us. We are surrounded by people who are always appreciating us. You know, our beauty, our looks, our money, our clothes, our things. That's their voice. But when we are sitting with ourselves, we are listening to our own voice. But if we are constantly in this jazziness of others' voice, when are we giving opportunity for our own heart to speak, for our own instincts to come out, to know who we truly are, to know, do I truly love this? What else do I love? Where can I grow? Which path I want to grow in? So that was one wonderful learning that we had during our trip. The second one, that was actually during the holidays. One day my son came and he said, Mama, in olden times, whenever I read books, and he meant picture books, Amar Chitra Katha, or any other books that he reads, in which there are pictures or stories of ancient times. He said, in olden times, people had houses which were made of mud. And there were actually no windows. There were doors in it. There were no windows because it was very difficult to make windows in those times. or very few windows, maybe one, and very tiny one. But today, when you look at all these buildings, especially the new one that is coming up next to our house, they are almost 80% of it is a glass. It's a window. Even in our own home, one wall of the room is completely glass. It's completely a window. Huge French windows, long windows, right from the top of the room to the bottom. But in those times, people were so transparent. Their hearts were so transparent. Though their houses were very opaque, but their hearts were very transparent. But today, the houses are absolutely transparent. Literally, there are some houses in which it's only glass. But the hearts have become so opaque. You really don't know what's truly in their heart. The innocence is lost. The honesty is lost. Honestly, tell me, how many friends that you can count on your hands, like 5 friends, and you can really say that they are completely honest with you, and more importantly, you are completely honest with them all the time? Are you? Or you are sometimes into people pleasing, and that is sometimes what they are doing to you? That is what my son meant. Isn't it so true? And that was such a deep and such a profound thought. When our hearts are not transparent, we are making our houses transparent. We are displaying our houses, but we are keeping our hearts locked. Wherein in olden times, people had thick mud houses, hardly a window, but the hearts were open. There was hardly reservations. Whatever, if something is nice, they will mention it. If something is not nice, also they will mention it. There's no pretense. There's no need to act in a certain way to belong to a group. There was transparency, and that is why there was a true sense of community. There was love and care for each other, regardless of being love and care for a certain group, or it's my favorite people and my non-favorite people. There was no groupisms. There was love in the air. All children were treated equally by the community elders, and all elders were considered equally wise and worthy of consideration, of their thoughts, of their knowledge, their wisdom. And all adults almost treated each other as similar. There was no too much of status difference. And if someone had a trouble, nobody asked who has a trouble. The question was, what is the trouble and what can we do to help? Today, the first question is, who's in trouble? Is it someone who has helped me? Is it someone powerful? Then everybody will drone to that person's house. So that is something so profound that my son mentioned. That earlier the houses were opaque, thick, no windows, but hearts were open. But today, houses are absolutely transparent. But we can't really say that about the hearts of people. So that was the very, very beautiful second learning of this time that I took since my last video. And the third is my learning from the time that I would like to share is integrity. It is a very big word, but I would say it in the context of integrity to self. Be true to yourself. In this world where everyone is swayed by the social the social sort of display, yeah, the social display of happiness and grandeur in their life. If you're happy from the heart, you may or may not want to show it. And this is a beautiful lesson we learn because the social media, different formats to be on social media propagates in a way, self fuels this need to be relevant, to be very visible, to be very available uh, at all the times to everyone, regardless of whether it is compromising for your own happiness, your peace of mind, or your own integrity. So, where your integrity doesn't lie, you don't need to be. And it's okay to say no without explaining and without trying to criticize the other person, because it can be, what can be right for you may not be right for the other person, and what can be right for the other person doesn't always become right for you, because everyone is having their own journey, everyone is having their own phases of life. So stay in integrity with your own self, and the best way to do that is to be around nature. I think nature makes us very secure, very confident, and very connected to ourselves. If I could give one tip for everyone who is facing any kind of crisis in terms of decision making, please go and walk in the wind. It opens up your mind. It just gives you that air energy, and the energy of air. We are made of 5 elements, by the way. So, whatever element is disturbed is what we need to go back to. And Mother Nature is abundant and resplendent to give it to you, but you have to be humble enough to take it. So if you feel you're fixated too much into, or you're feeling that kind of trouble in your own workspace, in your family, in your decision making, walk in the air and let this air, sort of cleanse in your blockages and make you even more open-minded and open to receiving the right kind of messages that universe is sending to you to make healthy, better decisions. If you feel so insecure about what is my neighbor doing, or am I good enough, am I better than this person, how can I get better than this person, that's a great big red flag. That means that sense of insecurity is constantly looming around you, and the way to judge is what is the positive side of it is when you don't see yourself as competing with anyone, and when you feel completely confident, completely assured, completely peaceful, and completely happy with yourself. That is when you're not insecure. And it could be in the area of finance, it could be in the area of looks, it could be in the areas of possessions that you have, it could even be the competition with children, husband, whatever in life, work, promotions, things that you possess, whatever, or just the quotient level of happiness. Why this person is more happier than me, anything. If that insecurity is continuously looming large, the best thing is to walk barefoot. I do that myself, because there are a lot of things in a day that can take you by surprise. So to feel grounded, to get the energy and blessings of Mother Earth, early morning walking barefoot is a wonderful exercise to take in the earth element, the energy of groundedness, the energy of contentment, the energy that I am taken care of by the Mother Nature. Everything is in balance. Whether it is good or not, it is in balance. So on the surface, things will not change. If you're having a crisis in the office, that crisis will not change, but your perception towards that crisis will change. you will know that this crisis is good. It's good to have this kind of a chaos. Maybe this team is sitting too much in its easy mode. They needed this crisis to maybe make better bonds, to understand their responsibilities in a better way, and to make probably better strategies, or to maybe execute well. And it can be in different areas, different things. But every time we feel disconnected from our element, it is good to go back to Mother Nature and reconnect with that element so that we balance our own energy and we live a life of integrity to self, which is my point number third. With that, I think this video has become almost 30 minutes, so I will try to end it here. So wish you all a wonderful, wonderful festive month ahead. I hope to become a little more regular in making the next video. But let's see, when there is something really worthwhile, I would really like to come back and share with you. Until then, let's chant these wonderful 2 mantras and begin the rest of our day with great, positive and optimistic energy. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.